Did you know you always wanted to have that many children?
I
Or?
never actually put a number on it.
Okay.
I think it was very intimidating for me to do such a thing. Me as a kid, I said, oh, I'll have five because I'm the youngest of five. So that was my comfort zone. And what I knew, I never actually thought it would match or exceed that number for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. And obviously, you're in the mortgage industry. You and I actually met because,
My sister-in-law actually is your
yes,
client.
yes.
And so as I was doing my prospecting, I thought, let me connect with realtors that have been recommended to me. You, obviously, you give an amazing service. My sister-in-law was very impressed. She had successful sales and purchases with you. So this is why I wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, and I remember your energy. Like when you called me, I was like, damn, who is this? Like she's so like fiery and feisty and just like hungry. That's the vibe that I got. Welcome to the Beyond the Sale podcast. I'm Cynthia Ostos, a real estate broker and team leader at Revel Realty in Mississauga. My goal with this show is to provide you with insights, tactics, and strategies to go beyond the sale. Today with me, I have an incredible guest that I'm sure you will love to get to know just as much as I've loved getting to know you over the years.
Thank you.
Romina Rodriguez. Thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's a privilege.
Yes. And I flew her in from Colombia. Kidding. But you did just...
I just arrived yesterday. Yes.
Yes. So you were in my home country. My parents are from Colombia. No secret there. I'm very proud.
It was a beautiful experience. We had...
Was that your first time there?
Correct. I never in my whole entire life did I ever dream to be there.
Wow.
Or did I ever think I would be going to Colombia?
Wow, so, because you're from...
Argentina.
Argentina. Okay.
And Che. But we were invited to a wedding, a very close friend of ours. So the future wife is Colombian and her family, everything is from Colombia. So they did a very traditional Colombian wedding.
Wow. And that sounds incredible.
It was beautiful with the whole dances and the musicians coming out of the church, walking them all the way to the venue while dancing the traditional Colombian folklore.
Wow. And what did you think of the food?
Oh, it was really, really, really delicious.
Yeah. It's different from Argentinian though, right? Like you guys eat
in
more
some
like,
ways,
yeah.
In some ways. In other ways, it was pretty much the same because you could always have a parrillada.
Right.
But no, pretty much. I enjoyed everything. It was pretty much the same, I would say. I've been in Canada for over 20 years. So my taste buds have been introduced to every culture in every country in Latin America, for sure.
Wow. Amazing. Well, thank you again for coming on, Romina. One of the incredible things about you, there's many, but you are in mortgage. You're in the mortgage industry. You're a mortgage broker.
Correct.
And you're also a mother of
seven children.
Yes, I used to get that wrong. Well, I don't know if it was that I was getting wrong or every...
It was updating. It was
few
updating.
years you were having more babies, which is amazing. Like you don't really hear of women nowadays having that many children. So how do you do it, Romina? How do you like manage it all? Let's just dive in. I'm so curious. Like
there is no magic trick. To me, honestly, it's my core values that kind of pull me through the whole experience and have me open to life. I have an incredible husband, obviously, that it's along the way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do any of this, obviously, with his support and his openness to life as well.
Did you know you always wanted to have that many children?
I never actually put a number on it.
Okay.
I think it was very intimidating for me to do such a thing. I always thought, what if I say, okay, this is it, and then there is, something horrible happened, and then I lose all my children, and then I said no more to life, and then what then, right? So I never even dare going that route. My husband always wanted a large family. Me as a kid, I said, oh, I'll have five because I'm the youngest of five. So that was my comfort zone and what I knew. But I never, as I grew up, I never actually thought it would even match or exceed that number for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. And obviously you're in the mortgage industry. You and I actually met because
My sister-in-law actually is your
Yes,
client.
yes.
And so as I was doing my calls, because that's very important as you start in any business that has to do with sales
Prospecting.
or prospecting, correct. I thought, let me connect with realtors that have been recommended to me, right? And so you give an amazing service. My sister-in-law was very impressed. She had very successful sales and purchases with you. So this is why I wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, and I remember your energy. Like when you called me, I was like, damn, who is this? Like she's so like fiery and feisty and just like hungry. That's the vibe that I got.
I was very driven, and it's hard because I had been a stay-at-home mom for a few years as my kids were younger. Some of them, obviously, it was halfway.
Sorry, and because your children, can we just, the ages, the range.
I have the oldest is 16 and the youngest is 1 year old.
So you got me beat because my youngest is 2.
Yeah, so
wow.
I have a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and then all the way to 16.
My goodness.
Yeah, so every stage is very challenging in different levels.
I bet.
And because I have a teenager, I embrace the younger a little bit longer because it does get more challenging, especially because they're becoming adults, right? So you're no longer seeing them, or myself at least. During the challenges, you don't see them as a baby, right? It's an adult. You're talking to an adult, or if there are differences, it's an adult. They're not technically an adult, but in Canada, you're an adult. Anyways, yes. We can go very deep on that.
For sure. So you were saying you were a stay-at-home mom, and then...
Correct. So...
how did you end up in the mortgage industry?
Well, with my own experience, I started talking to my own mortgage professionals, and I thought, this is something I understand very well. I can grasp very well, and this is something that I enjoy. Like I like finances, I like business planning.
I'm curious, was being a realtor also like one of those maybe?
It may be because I like helping people. I like working with people. I like real estate. But because I was a mom and a wife to my specific husband, I know that being out of the house
wouldn't go over
wouldn't work as well for my family. Being a mortgage professional, a mortgage agent is more suited for my family. I get to stay at home more as the kids get older. Things may change as the years go by, but right now I feel pretty satisfied where I am.
Wow, that's incredible. So like, what is your schedule like? I mean, with 7 kids, and obviously now you have some older, some younger, but... Correct.
So as you know, we don't work bank hours, right? We're available any time of the day, especially when you have in the previous years where you had bids going on and off and like
multiple offers.
Exactly. And you needed to make sure that the offer was a strong offer and that it would get approved because no conditions, right? So you had to be available. So my hours are around the clock. Obviously now that things have settled in more, my all the time that it's like 100% of my attention would be between, I would say, 8:30 to about 3, where it's completely dedicated to mortgages, and then after that is on demand.
Got it. And I mean, let's talk a bit about the mortgage world right now and everything going on, obviously, with interest rates. Like, what are your thoughts on the current rate environment that we're in?
It can be very challenging for many. Qualifying is one of the things. People that are up for renewal, they have that shock, right? The payment shock.
The sticker shock.
A sticker shock. So, but because of I'm independent, right? I'm not working just for one bank. I get to offer my clients multiple options. It's important for me to have a very good conversation with them and understand what is their current situation. What is the main goal in this renewal? Are you looking for more funds? Are you looking for a better payment? What is your situation? What are the goals?
Do you want to understand the whole picture?
Of course. Before I provide them with a solution, I need to know what is the goal. So, like I said, because I'm independent, I have access to A lenders, B lenders, private lenders.
So you can kind of guide the client to like which lender or option is best for them in their situation.
Correct. Once I understand the goal, then I can look at the different policies, the different rates, the different payments, arrangements, and and provide those options to the client so that they can make that decision. I provide them the tools to be able to make a decision, but at the end of the day, is there a decision
For
to
sure.
make?
Something I found really interesting when we were chatting last was you were saying to me how, I guess, people at the bank level that are handling mortgages, they don't have to be, is it licensed or what's the difference
So
between
they're
the broker?
employees. So mortgage, they're loan officers at the bank.
Okay.
So they're employees of the bank. The bank is what who gets regulated.
Right.
Whereas mortgage brokers, we are regulated by FSRA. And we have to get licensed and renew our license on a yearly basis. If we commit fraud, we can be penalized. We can go to jail, and including our brokerage.
Really?
Yes. So the
person at the bank then
they just get fired.
Damn.
And
Okay,
I'm not sure if there's more, like the details.
Yeah,
I don't
course,
know because
course.
it's not my area. I just know.
But they're not like violating a certain type of code or whatever.
Well, we're not. They don't have a license, right? They're an employee, so they have to follow, I guess, the conditions of employment and the terms and conditions of employment. For us, is basically I tell this to some clients I would, or some professionals in our industry, where they would ask in a very how could I say covered way if we can facilitate documents or something along those lines. And I make it very clear that I never got into this business to go in that line, and I'm not going to be putting my own livelihood on the line.
Yeah, fraud, essentially.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not saying it straight up, but that's what it is.
I thought fraud was like not happening much in the mortgage industry. Like, I guess, with all these regulations and everything that the government has put in place. Obviously, back when I started, I do remember it was like more prominent, but I guess it's still happening nowadays.
Especially now, because it's so hard to qualify.
Much harder, yeah.
And it's hard to, the down payment, where are the funds coming in, right? And Canada has put so many, there's so many regulations to make sure that everything is certified. Like the down payment, we need to present.
Like no money laundering and
exactly.
stuff like that.
So we need to show 90 days history. Where's the money coming from? There's some countries that we will not be able to use that payment if it's coming from those sanctioned countries.
Really? I had no idea. Sorry, which countries,
there's
for example?
If they're sanctioned countries. The only one that comes to mind right now is Iran. So that's a sanctioned country. So if your down payment is coming from Iran, then it will not be able to be used unless, the money has been there for a long time, beyond the 90 days.
Pretty interesting.
There's got to be many reasons for that. But the idea is that the money is not laundered.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what do you think, like, obviously having how many years now in the mortgage industry?
3 years.
Okay, 3 years now. What would you say, like, I guess you always, as a realtor, sometimes I get surprised the things that I think the public knows and they actually don't know. Like, but let's say in mortgages, like what's something that you come across often and you just say like, how does this person not know this? Or how does the public? Like,
I guess the biggest misconception is the amount of down payment that you need.
Got it. Okay.
So
that's a big one.
Yes. So as time has changed, obviously, before it was just 5% the minimum down payment, and they thought it was just for first-time home buyers. But no, the minimum down payment applies to any buyer, as long as, for example, if minimum down payment for any purchases above $1 million is now 20%. That didn't used to be like that, but it is now. Anything below $1 million, you need the minimum of 5% of the first 500,000. Right. And any amount above that and be below $1 million, you need the 10% of that. And combined is what makes your down payment. But that's not just for first-time home buyers.
It's for everybody.
It's for anybody, as long as it's for your own residence, for you to live in it.
Got it.
If it's a rental, it's always 20%.
Got it. Okay. Very interesting. So now in terms of, you were saying, obviously your husband is a big part of your success and
correct
and all of that. Is he a stay-at-home dad or
no he works construction. He has a very, very demanding job, but we have goals as a couple and for our family, and we are dreamers, I guess, and so his support is a key factor for me to be able to succeed in this industry, and for him to make a change as time goes by, because let's be honest, your body can only take so long, like so much, right? So he's in the elements a lot,
Right, okay.
all the time. So our goal is for him to be able to do that transition, given that I can, I guess, make up for that.
Got it. So I have to ask you, you just mentioned yourself, you've got goals and dreams. Like, what are some of those dreams that you guys have that you want to accomplish?
Well, that's a big question. I think financial independence is a big one. Yes, I would like to have my husband involved in our kids' life a lot more. I think that was very important for him from forever. Obviously, there are certain decisions that have to be made to prioritize for things that are more important, like it is having your family and provide. And it may not be the comfortable job that he wanted to do. He used to play professionally. He used to play soccer professionally.
Wow. Hello.
And
you married a soccer player.
I did. So that didn't work out for him. So that was really difficult for him to kind of find a new goal, right? And so then he met me, and that I was the new goal, I guess. Family was the new direction. And we've done obviously amazing at that. I think even though it can be difficult, it's very fulfilling. And I think there's nothing that can fill your heart as much as your children and your family, for sure.
My goodness. Wow. Well, that's for sure. I definitely, after becoming a mom myself, like nothing compares.
No.
Right?
But it takes a moment to submerge into your reality, because we are so conditioned into this
well, especially here in North America.
Yeah, success, right? And you want to be more and more. And as a woman, right, family is no longer the main goal of a majority of women. We want to succeed. We want to be, yes, we don't want to just be a mom. We don't just want to be.
Because like your culture and mine, like, my mom, she sort of stayed home with us and worked kind of part-time, but it was always like my dad was, the provider. I'm not sure how it was for you growing up.
No, my parents were entrepreneurs. Okay. So I guess that's kind of why I do what I do, because my mom it was a family business, and we were all involved in it.
What was the business?
It was, I guess, like an Uber. So we had, my parents had many, right? But the last one where I was more involved as a kid, we had an agency. So like Uber drivers. But they would sit in the office until people would come to require. So
you had Uber before Uber was around.
Okay, so I used to call something else. And then people would call and make those requests for a vehicle to take them from point A to point B.
So it was like a taxi service?
Exactly. Or? I guess so. I say Uber because it could be anyone as long as their vehicle was in good condition.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so I used to.
And was this back in Argentina?
Correct.
Wow. You would be answering the phone.
Yes. I started at the age of 10. So I would answer the phone and take the orders or the addresses and they used to declare how much they charged the client. And obviously a percentage of that would go to the house, which would be my parents.
Cool. And you guys were all in that business?
Correct. My brothers, it was a 24-hour business.
My goodness. Wow. Okay.
So very, very sacrificial. And so that's kind of what I grew up in. And so for me, sacrifices is natural. Like I never cared for vacation because my parents never took vacation, right?
I know, it's such a like old school way, right? Like you just work. But obviously family is a big thing like back home as well. And I mean, even if you do like a weekend trip, like it's just nice because everybody's together, right? Like would you guys, so you didn't take vacations, but.
We didn't. And there's another part of all this is that my parents are actually Portuguese.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
They are Portuguese. I was born in Argentina. They went really young to Argentina. They obviously had a family.
So do you speak Portuguese as well?
I speak Portuguese as well.
Okay, fala português.
Eu falo português. So I think a lot of their work ethic is cultural as well. And their parents never took vacation. So, and this is the hardcore upbringing, right? Like, with the cows and the farming and everything involved. And then my dad started working at the age of 13, cutting bricks. Like it was really, really hard. So that's what like it's ingrained in me. And for me, sacrifices, as long as it's a good cause, is worthwhile.
Yeah. And your husband, obviously being past.
Chilean.
He's from Chile. Okay, so
yes.
and like changed his career to now being in construction.
In construction.
Right?
So he met me, met my family, and he kind of absorbed a bit of that. And,
I was going to say, like, did you find that you guys had the same goals from the get-go, like wanting to?
Yes, it's hard because I was so young, right? I was 19. No, I met him at 18. Sorry, I got married at 19. And so it was, it's kind of like the main, as a kid, what is your main goal in life? I think family is the main one for many, and also your career. And it depends on what order you can take that is how life happens.
For sure. So for you, would you say it was family first and then career?
No, my goal was first career.
Okay.
But because of immigration and things like that, and I had to consider the time frames that everything would take, I prioritized family.
Got it.
Because if I prioritize career, then I wouldn't have a family until 10 years after when I actually started. So it's like I kind of allowed God to be the guide on what needs to happen next.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting. And for me, it was like I got licensed in 2010. I was 30. And then I was doing so well in real estate that I was just like, I don't think I can have a family. Like I met the man of my dreams. We got married. We both were like really just in our businesses. And, it wasn't until one day where I broke my ankle. These things happen, right? And I was on the floor and the first thing that came to mind was, how am I going to sell real estate? Like I'm crippled at the time, right? And I was just like, I need to build a team. And obviously doing that then gave me the freedom to think about having a family, right? But it wasn't sort of on my radar, like even having kids, funny enough.
Well, that's the thing. Something in life happens where these things start kind of evolving, right? In your brain, in your soul, if you will, because yes, you can go with our nature, right? So against our nature. But yeah, originally I wanted to finish all my career and, the natural state of mind that it is on right now. But I made decisions that kind of got me to where I am now. And then I wanted to take a leap. And I got into this career.
Before mortgages, were you in any other industry or
yes,
besides obviously?
I was in, so I started as a receptionist. Then I went on to a corporate concierge, and then an executive assistant.
Wow. You've done like a bit of everything.
Yes. And I think for me, it's very important to be able to challenge myself through these different jobs. What each of those gave me was the ability to do beyond the one thing. So I was able to learn many aspects of different positions, and I love that. And I think in mortgages, that's what it is. You're doing multiple things, and it's an industry that is always changing. So you're always required to change and to learn, and that's something I love. And being able to help people while doing that that's a dream come true.
And so, mat leave, was that something you've ever? I mean, I
hated it.
So did you take mat leave with these last babies? Because you said you have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Correct. So now because I'm self-employed, then no, I quite didn't. So I worked through it. I got in the industry while pregnant, and then I had my child, and I was still answering the phone in the hospital.
I know. I always say, like, if people want to hire like someone that is going to like hustle and show up, like moms that are in business and working, right? Like, and juggling it all. Like, I feel like we are like the best in terms of being able to. We are
dedicated, right? We are committed.
Yeah.
And
like you're giving birth and
answering phone calls. It's a new client and they wanted assistance.
But not active labor. Active labor, no.
I just had the baby.
Okay, after you had the baby.
No, active labor. Of course. No, we cannot
speak. Me too, because I was I was in labor, but not like active labor. And I was like calling one of my team members asking like, how did that go, that appointment? And she was like, aren't you in labor? And I'm like, yeah, but baby's not here yet, right?
Exactly.
But,
let me still focus on this while I can.
Exactly.
So no, certainly. And that's something that the dedication of a mom is unequal to anything else, I think. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Very exciting. That's amazing. What an incredible story. So, Romina, obviously in this rate environment with the changes in this current market right now, it's very tough to buy.
Correct.
Where do you see some opportunities for people that do still want to own a home?
It is very challenging, like you said, for some people, but for others, it may be a space of great opportunity. For those that have the funds available and that are able to qualify, this may be a great time to grab onto a great property at a very low price. We have, and you can speak of this better than me, where we have a lot more inventory and a lot less buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, a lot of these sellers are able to negotiate the price more than they would have a year or so ago. So I would recommend anybody that is able to do it to get into it. And within a few years, that investment is going to give them great returns.
For sure. The equity that they'll build, right?
Correct.
Prices have corrected, 10, 20, 30%, even this year, like from earlier this year in May. So
Correct.
There's definitely opportunities out there. And, I wish I had more liquid cash to pick up some rental properties, although there's obviously risks involved with that. And is it still the case that if someone buys a rental property that they need to put down, it's 20%, right?
It's 20%, correct. But like I said, if you have it, if you're able to do it, we can use those the rental income, the potential rental income in the qualification for that purchase.
Is it you can use half of it?
No, it depends on the lender. Every lender has different policies.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's why it's important to know your lenders so that you can match those clients with the right
it's like
product.
You're a matchmaker.
It is exactly it. It
Nice.
is exactly it. So this is a goal. What are we working with? What are the numbers? And then we see where do you fit best? What fits best with those numbers, with your profile? And so that's how we make this happen. That's how our clients end up being very happily engaging with us, because we make those goals, those dreams a reality.
Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you something I'm just intrigued about myself. With your children and obviously you being in the mortgage space, like, are you talking to them about finances and saving and that sort of thing?
I do all the time. And I told my husband, because every little cash they would get, everything went. Like the moment they got $10, the $10 were gone, gifts and all that. So I thought it was very important to, from the get-go, set them with a savings account, with a checking account, so that the cash could sit somewhere. And the moment that they were asking me for something that they did not yet earn or they did not need, then, okay, these funds are there available for you. What would you like to do? Do you want to use them? And then when they start seeing the number drop, then they become aware, right? When you have cash, sometimes it's not as tangible.
True, you're right. That's such a great point.
But it could work both ways. For some people, it's easier to have cash because they can see it disappear. And for others, it's the opposite because they're not used to it. They just let go of it very easily. So that's kind of what I did with my children. I did 50% savings, 50% checking so they can spend it. They hate me for it, but eventually I think they'll appreciate it.
That's one thing I think nowadays. Daquan and I, we went to go speak at a high school, and he asked, it was a group of like 17-year-old kids. There was about 30 of them. He asked who here sort of follows the real estate market or has like interest, and no one put up their hand. And maybe at that age, it's just not on people's radar, but I feel like there really needs to be more education with like younger teenagers or preteens or young adults on, finances like mortgages. Because I feel like I meet people now that are even in their 30s and they sort of still don't understand how it works. So it's quite interesting how
it's a very important point that there is a lack of financial literacy, if you will, a course that teaches them about finances. And this is something that they will have to deal with the entire life. I was recently reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was really eye-opening because the experiences that he shares, being that his actual dad was a teacher or was someone very educated, and the other person, the rich dad that he calls him, he did not finish even high school. And so how their perspectives regarding money was completely different and how it kind of shaped their lives and where they went. I think education is important, especially on young children, where you can teach them how to manage money, but not live for the money. And so giving those tools, opening their eyes as to how to manage it, and about taxes, about government, all
There's
that
a lot to know.
It's very important.
Yeah.
And yes, that's all I would say, because it's not, I'm not an economist or anything like that, but I think it's something that is lacking in schools, and has always been the case. Some people may say that is on purpose. And
those conspiracy theorists.
That's why I said people could say that, but there's some truth to it, because why isn't yet enrolled?
True.
It is something that...
I have one last burning question, because I think we're wrapping up soon. Where do you see interest rates going in 2024?
So we are expecting by May or June for interest rates to start dropping, and continue to drop until 2025.
And when you say drop, like how low?
The expectation is about 3.5 by 2025. So it's going to be a very slow and gradual drop. Again, this is what is expected, but we cannot guarantee it.
For sure. But we're not going to go back to... For anyone thinking 1%, 2%, those days are just not coming back.
That's for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I think a normal interest rate is what, about 4.5%? 5%?
Well, 3.5 would be the prime. And so around 4%, right. Yes, in the fixed rates. Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I hope everyone, takes a lot away from this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to continue working with you in the near future.
Oh, 100%. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beyond the Sale. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcast.